Detroit basketball.
Alright, Pistons fans, so in today's video, we are talking about the training camp roster for the Detroit Pistons. It has officially been released. Apparently, they're not going to make any more moves. It's a possibility that they can, but I don't envision that because they've added a lot of players recently. They went out and they brought in Derek Walton Jr., Cassius Stanley. They put Anthony Tark on the squad as well, so I don't envision them adding anyone else. So I'm about to go through the roster, the 15-man main roster, then the training camp guys, and then the two-way guys. I'm going to give you guys my opinion of the players who I feel like may or may not have a chance. So the guys like Cade and Jeremy Grant won't really go too much into detail on those guys, but someone like Anthony Tark, I will go into detail on. So let's get into this. So for the 15-man roster, I'll put the image on the screen right now. We have Cade Cunningham, we have Jeremy Grant, Isaiah Stewart, Sadiq Bey, Killian Hayes, Hamidou Diallo, Frank Jackson, Josh Jackson, Kelly Olynyk, Saban Lee, Corey Joseph, Trey Lyles, Luka Garza, and Rodney McGruder. So for that to be the 15-man roster, apparently I'm gonna put the image on the screen right now. Right before I started filming this video, actually, the Pistons decided to sign Luka Garza to a 2-year contract, which is a really good move. So we can expect to see Luka Garza on the main roster this upcoming season. Now, I don't know how many minutes he will get because he's gonna be behind Kelly Olynyk and Isaiah Stewart, so I don't envision him getting many minutes, but it will be good for him to have the NBA experience, be on the main roster, travel with the team, build chemistry with the team, practice with the team. It will be good to have him on the main roster. So I'm happy that Luka Garza has signed a 2-year deal and that he will be a Piston for this upcoming season on the main roster. And outside of trades or any freak injuries or anything like that, the team that we have currently, the 15-man roster, looks pretty solid. As I did in my schedule video for the Detroit Pistons, I believe we're going to finish somewhere around 35 wins. We may be a little bit higher, we may be a little bit lower, but I think we're going to be in that 35 win mark range, somewhere around that 9th, 10th, 11th seed. We may finish a little higher, we may finish a little lower. So with the roster that we have, the amount of young talent, and then the mix of veterans with the Corey Joseph, Kelly Olynyk, and Jeremy Grant, I really do like the 15-man main roster. Now let's get into the other areas of the team, the training camp squad. So we dished out 3 training camp deals: Cassius Stanley, Anthony Tark, and Derek Walton Jr. Now, I'm a bit shocked that they decided to give Tark a chance out of everybody in Summer League. The Pistons could have gave an opportunity to, and not just on our team. You could have looked at other teams, guys who've been released by other teams who had a good Summer League. I'm surprised we didn't really give someone else a shot, and they decided to go with Tark. But we'll see what Tark does. I did like him coming out of Coppin State. He has some potential there. We just got to wait and see if he can perform to a level where he gets a roster spot on the G League team. We see how he does down there. I really did like him at Coppin State, but what he did in the Summer League, I wasn't really, too impressed by him. So it's just a wait and see type of thing with Tark. And then as far as Cassius Stanley and Derek Walton Jr. goes, Derek Walton Jr., I don't envision him making it for the simple fact of his age and the position that he plays in. I don't see him being here long term. I just believe he's a camp body. Now, as far as Cassius Stanley goes, if he performs well in this training camp, he can have the opportunity to get on our G League team. Cassius is still young enough to have the potential to get to the NBA one day. So out of all the 3 guys that we gave deals to for the training camp, I believe that Cassius Stanley has the best opportunity to be at least on a G League squad, rather than Anthony Tark and Derek Walton Jr. Now let's get into the two-way players. So we have Chris Smith and we have Pickett. Now Chris Smith is still recovering from the injury that he had at UCLA, so I don't know, how it's going to work out if we're going to keep him long term due to that injury. I really did like him at UCLA as a two-way player, someone who has defensive potential and can also score the ball inside, attack the hole well. I really did like Chris Smith in the small sample size that we got at UCLA, but that injury, I just don't know how Troy Weaver is going to manage that. Is he going to decide to flat out waive him, or is he going to wait till he gets healthy and then give him an opportunity once that time comes? I don't really know what he's going to do with Chris Smith. Now, as far as Pickett goes, a lot of Pistons fans were really high on Pickett after the Summer League. I always want to keep in mind, you never want to get too hype on a guy in Summer League, and you never want to get too low on a guy in Summer League. Cade Cunningham, perfect example. after the first 2 games, they called him a bust, but we all know that's obviously not true. So that's an example of being too low on a player. But someone like Pickett, you know, some Pistons fans were overhyping him and making him seem like he was better than he actually is. So I just always want to keep in mind when it comes to a player like Pickett, don't be too high on him, don't be too low on him. We'll see what he does this training camp. I did like what I seen out of Summer League. For someone his size with that scoring ability, I do like him, but again, a wait and see type of thing with Pickett. Don't want to get too high, don't want to get too low. And then the last thing that I'm going to talk about is the potential starters for the Pistons. I'm going to assume that this is referring to when the season starts. So they're saying that Killian Hayes is going to be the 1, Cade Cunningham will be the 2, Saddiq Bey at the 3, Jeremy Grant at the 4, and Isaiah Stewart at the 5. So let's get into this. So as far as Bey and Grant, you know, Bey at the 3 and Grant at the 4, I can definitely see that happening. No questions or concerns there. But the 1, 2, and then the 5 position, those are some key questions. First off, can Cade Cunningham and Killian Hayes work together? I believe they do. A certain portion of the Pistons fan base believes that they can work together, but there's also a certain portion of the fan base that believes that they can't work together and that we should either send Killian to the bench or trade Killian all along. Now, there are a lot of those people who've been calling Killian a bust ever since he was drafted, so, you know, you don't really want to trust their opinions too hard on that, but I do understand, you know, their concerns when it comes to can Cade and Killian work together, because that's a big thing. We drafted Killian, top of the draft. We just got Cade, number 1. They both play the same position. We do have to see if they can work together. I believe they do. Personally, I really do believe that these 2 guys will thrive and feed off of each other. Point guards who can play defense, can play make. Killian, he doesn't really have the offensive game right now. That's where Cade comes in, but Killian can feed Cade the ball. Cade can score the basketball, and then we just have to wait a few years till Killian develops his offensive game. So personally, I believe that those 2 will work out together, but I do understand people's concerns. As far as Isaiah Stewart being the starter, this is the most shocking thing, because I really didn't expect something like this to be real. I still don't know when the season starts if this will happen, because it's rare that you sign a guy like Kelly Olynyk to that amount of money and then you immediately bench him on the team, especially to a guy who just came off of a rookie season. I love Isaiah Stewart. I believe long term he will be better for the Pistons, obviously, because Kelly's in his 30s. Stu just got into the NBA. Obviously, Stu is better long term, but right now, rushing Stu to be the starting center, I just don't know if that's realistic or if that's going to happen, especially with the coach like Dwayne Casey. And maybe a few nights throughout the season he will be the starter, but I believe that most likely, because him being a veteran, his age, the amount of money that he makes, I believe that we're going to see Kelly Olynyk be the starter come opening night. Now, again, maybe a little bit down the line in the season, we see Stu get in there. But at the start of the season, I believe that it will be Kelly. So with the list saying that Isaiah Stewart will be the starter, I don't really know if that's realistic. So that's everything, man. Training camp is upon us. It's right around the corner. We got media day coming in about 1 to 2 days, I believe. And then soon we're going to have preseason. And then the NBA season is going to start in October. So I'm hyped. I'm pumped, man. Expect a lot of content coming soon once the season is back. I love y'all. Thank you guys for all of the support, man. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you guys like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Thank you guys for 3K, and I'm out.